Please help me to reach 1,000 subscribers. The text came at 2:17 a.m., the kind of hour when hospitals feel less like places of healing and more like waiting rooms for grief. You should come home tonight. It was from Marissa, my sister-in-law, the one who had spent the last 3 years telling me to rest, to eat, to sleep, to keep believing my wife might wake up. I stared at the message while the steady hum of the ventilator filled the dim hospital room. Elena lay exactly as she had every night for 1,096 nights. Still. Pale. Suspended somewhere between here and gone. I typed back, why? 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Just come home. Please. Something cold slid into my stomach. Not panic. Not yet. Just a quiet shift, like the moment before glass cracks. I hadn't slept at home in months. Maybe longer. Time had stopped meaning anything after the accident. My world had shrunk to hospital coffee, whispered updates from nurses, and the faint hope hidden in every twitch of Elena's fingers. But that night I kissed her forehead like always, cool, unmoving, and whispered, "I'll be back in a few hours." The drive home felt unfamiliar, like traveling through a city I used to live in. Streetlights blurred. My hand stayed tight on the wheel. I kept telling myself Marissa probably meant paperwork. Bills. Something ordinary. Still I drove faster. The house was dark when I pulled up. For a moment relief washed through me. See? Nothing. Just nerves. Then I noticed the porch light was off. Elena never turned it off. Not once in 10 years. She said coming home should always feel like someone was waiting. My chest tightened. I unlocked the door as quietly as possible, though I didn't know why I was sneaking into my own life. Inside, the air smelled different. Warmer. Lived in. Not the stale quiet of a place frozen in tragedy. I stepped forward slowly, every sound too loud, the creak of wood, the soft click of the door closing behind me. That's when I heard it. A laugh. Low. Male. Familiar in the worst possible way. My heart didn't race. It dropped heavy and certain, like it already knew. The sound came from the kitchen. I walked toward it, each step numb, like my body was moving without permission. And then I saw him. Daniel. My best friend since college. The man who had held me the night of the accident while I shook so hard I couldn't breathe. He was standing at the counter in my house, wearing one of my old t-shirts. For a second my brain refused to finish the picture. Refused to ask the question already forming. Then a second laugh came, soft, breathy, unmistakably hers. I turned. Elena stood near the sink. Alive. Awake. Thin, yes. Pale, yes. But standing. Looking at him the way she used to look at me when we were newly married and everything felt possible. The world didn't explode. Just went silent. No machines. No heartbeat. No thoughts. Only the space where 3 years of love used to be. She saw me first. Her face drained of color so quickly it almost looked like the coma had returned. Mark. Daniel turned, and whatever he saw in my expression made him step back like I'd hit him. No one spoke, because there are moments when language is too small for what's breaking. I looked at her legs steady beneath her, at the glass of water in her hand, at the life she had been living somewhere I wasn't allowed to see. "You're awake," I heard myself say. 3 years of prayers, and that was all I had. Tears filled her eyes instantly. I woke up months ago. Months. The word echoed like a gunshot in an empty room. I nodded slowly because anger hadn't reached me yet. Shock was still in control. "And you didn't tell me." Her silence answered. The truth came out in pieces. Quiet. Messy. Human. She'd woken up confused, weak, terrified of disappointing the man who had built his entire life around her hospital bed. Daniel had been there that day. And the next. And the next. He talked about normal things, she whispered. Not doctors. Not guilt. Just life. I understood that feeling more than I wanted to. Hope can become a cage. And I had locked her inside mine without realizing. "I didn't mean for this to happen," she said, voice breaking. "No one ever does." Daniel couldn't meet my eyes. I tried to tell her to tell you, but he hadn't walked away either. Because love, real or mistaken, rarely follows clean rules. I expected rage. Instead, memories came. Her hand in mine on our wedding day. Late-night drives with music too loud. Promises whispered into the dark that felt unbreakable. All of it still real. Just no longer ours. The strangest part of betrayal isn't the lie. It's realizing the past stays beautiful even after the future is gone. I'm glad you lived, I said finally. And I meant it. Even if she hadn't lived for me. Her sob hit the room like something fragile shattering. Mark, I shook my head gently. Not cruel. Just finished. You don't owe me love because I waited, I said. But you owed me the truth. Daniel closed his eyes. She cried harder. And somewhere inside me a quiet strength began to form, thin as thread but unbreakable. I packed one bag before sunrise. Not angrily. Not dramatically. Just carefully. Like folding away a chapter that had already ended. At the door I looked back once. She stood in the hallway, alive in a way I had begged God to allow. It hurt more than losing her to death. Because this time she had chosen a world without me. Goodbye, Elena. The words were soft. But they held everything. Outside, morning light stretched across the street, pale and new. For the first time in 3 years, I wasn't walking toward a hospital. I was walking toward a life I didn't recognize yet. And somewhere beneath the grief, beneath the betrayal, beneath the quiet ache of love that would probably never disappear, there was something else. Space. Breath. The fragile beginning of a man learning how to live again.